7, 8, I've been dancing since I was 6. Every kid on the block that's ticking its talk. I've been posting these gems, they've been giving you rocks. I've been fooled once or twice. Not everyone that loves you really gives you good advice. I think that it's nice that they try, but I find I'd rather follow signs from the dreams in my mind. Yeah. I've been fooled once or twice. The girl you think is flirting is just being really nice. It's cool, but it's like I've been getting confused, no clothes and no likes, but she follows me twice. Nice. Sometimes I gotta treat people like they're phone companies. I never believe what they say. Okay. You know when they tell you they have a deal, deep down it's not real, and yet you still pay. Come on. 5, 6, you gotta do it like this. 7, 8, I've been dancing since I was 6. Every kid on the block that's ticking its talk. I've been posting these gems, they've been giving you rocks.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It is me, your boy Rico no Suave, and I am super happy to be back with each and every one of you guys. Oh my God, how I missed all of you, because I know you missed me too. Yes, I'm sure. I hope that you miss me because you know what? Being here on the show just makes me feel so great to be able to hear my voice talking to you. You see how I said that? I'm hearing my own self. I wish I can hear you too. Everybody that loves to just comment, or maybe you talking to the TV or anything like that. One thing is just knowing that you guys are here with me on the Rico No Suave show, everyone. So welcome, because we're gonna have a great show for you today. I have to say, Feliz Dia de San Valentin. Happy Valentine's Day. Ooh, there's just a lot of love that we're giving out today, everybody. I hope you enjoying yourself as far as with your loved ones. Valentine's Day is a big holiday for all of the lovebirds, or even people that just loving themselves, right? If you love yourselves and you taking yourselves off, it's a great thing. So, one thing about Valentine's Day is just that we're just giving a lot of love. So, wow, how can I say this? You know, there's 2 people, there's 3 people, there's 4 people, there's 5 people. It just gets crazy when it comes to love for Valentine's Day. I always tell my mom Happy Valentine's Day. I always tell my dad Happy Valentine's Day. I might, pick on my brothers and sisters and just say Happy Valentine's Day. I love y'all too. You know what I mean? I let them know. I let them know that I love them as well too. But today is Valentine's Day, and I'm so happy that you guys are taking the time out to be here on the show today. Everybody, it's time to introduce this gentleman. Let's get it on. This gentleman here, I will have to say, when I actually talked to him, and thank you so much for Beatrice Davis for actually, bringing this gentleman to my attention, because this gentleman has been doing so many great things in the non-for-profit organizations, but also being able to help build the community itself. I want you guys to put your hands together, because we're talking homeless, we're talking nothing but great things. His name is Paul Asplund. Let's go. What's up, Paul? Hey, let's see if Paul is there. Hey, Paul, how are you, sir? How's everything?
I'm good, Rico. Thanks. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Man, I'm super happy to have you here, sir. Super
And
happy
happy
to have you here.
Valentine's.
Happy
This is what
Valentine's
this
Day.
says a lot about our lives, that we are here tonight.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir.
All-
When it comes down to, Valentine's Day, we talk about the love that you have been given to the organizations and to the community and to people from all over. This is one of the biggest things that I have to say, that I'm so happy that you are actually here on this day to show love, because we got some really great topics that we do want to cover in regards to your journey, in regards to your life, and everything that you have actually done for the world, right? When I say the world, of course, not just in LA, but I'm sure you touched a lot of people's lives as well. So you ready to have a good time or what?
I'm ready to have a good time. Thank you.
Let's go, baby. All right, here's the first question. All right, because you know why? Things happens in the family where sometimes when I was growing up, I was confused. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what my parents was thinking. I don't know as far as what may be happening, as far as my parents may have, different debates or maybe arguments. I wouldn't say arguments. Let's just say discussions, right? They might have certain discussions as us as little kids growing up in the teenage years and say, what are they talking about? What is going on in this household? This question, of course, is for you, sir. Being at the age of understanding that there's 2 sides of the political party between your parents, how was that with the family and the views discussed for you to understand which side to be on?
Huh. Talk about a foundational question, right?
Yep.
My, I mean, you can tell by looking at me, I grew up a long time ago.
Yes, sir.
And it was different, right? It was less polarized, less anger around politics. And my mom was a Republican and my dad was a Democrat.
Yes, sir.
And the way that worked out in the family is that we had lots of conversations about social responsibility, about who we were, and also mix in there. So we're ethnically Lutheran, right? I'm from Minnesota, where I think 85% of the people when I was growing up were Lutheran.
Yes.
So we got that ethnic Lutheran thing going on, caring about the community, a little Scandinavian, caring about like the doors never locked. People are always invited over. People are always coming over. My parents were very social, but we had that thing at home where we'd sit down at the dinner table and my dad would grill us with questions, and you had to be ready. So we had to be aware of what was going on, and he took things seriously. He was also a government worker, so he couldn't be openly political. He was a federal officer, so he was a little quiet about that. But at home, it was very much instilling in us that our responsibility is to be there and to take care of things and to vote, right? My mom was an election judge. For my entire growing up, my mom, every election, was over at the elementary school, sitting with all the other judges in the morning, checking people in and doing all that, and I remember, the things like my dad handing me the newspaper when Nixon resigns, right? My dad hands me the newspaper and says, hold on to this. You're never going to see this again. This is an important day.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was maybe 13 years old, he gave me that book, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, the D. Brown book, right? Heavy stuff for a 13-year-old. And then he gave me Exodus to read. I think Leon Uris wrote that book, right?
Okay.
So he was guiding me a little bit into how to be compassionate, what it looked like. He had a dark take on it. He said, "I just want you to know how cruel people can be to each other," and I guess that was his way of looking at it. I looked at it. I walked away with all this stuff, being fairly hopeful that things have just gotten better ever since those days. Things are just getting better, and even though they look bad right now, today, around the world, there's a lot of hard stuff going on. Things are so much better now than they were 40 years ago, right? Yeah. There's less poverty, there's less hunger, there's less human trafficking, there's less all of those horrible things that have been dogging us for so long are actually getting better. And I'd like to stay on that side of the equation to think about, we're improving, and it's slow, but we're improving. And in my family, so my dad was a Democrat, but a member of the NRA. Right. Okay. I learned how to shoot a gun as soon as I could stand. And I knew how, there was a 410, a 30-06, and his 38 snub nose and a 45 automatic in the house. Right. And I just knew that stuff. I knew how to ride horses as soon as that, so I had a great upbringing. We worked out. He had a little lumber business on the side, a little firewood business. So we would fell trees, and his two sons, the young, strong ones, would run along the trees with chainsaws and cut the branches off so we could drag them out of the woods and sell firewood on the side. So we worked. We had a great time. It was a great place to grow up, and a great time to be there because we just spent all our time out in the woods. And and that family, as divided as it could have been, we all just loved each other, and we all figured it out, and we all stood kind of where we stood. My brother's as far to the right, I think, as I am to the left.
Sure.
And so, we just went our ways.
When it comes down to talking about your mom being a judge, I never had the experience of actually having a mom as a judge, because I know that there was also decisions that has to be made within the house. And when you think about, the judge aspects of things, and the political part, one thing that you did say that straightened the whole thing out, everybody just loved each other. It wasn't about what you believed in. It wasn't about how intellectual you are, but it also just came as I love you for who you are and what you are. Yeah. But when it came down to the judging piece, as far as with, your mom being in that role, did she ever like for when you're actually looking at your dad and your mom trying to make a decision, do you ever see her putting on her judgment role, like in her head and seeing how she actually acts
Well,
in that situation?
so just to clarify, she was an election judge. She was not like a
Oh,
local judge,
oh,
right? Just the election judge.
okay,
So,
okay.
but you're not wrong in that she was quick to her. She used to say this to us all the time. Don't confuse me with facts. My mind is made up. And it was that was the bar to any kind of arguing. There was just we were all much bigger than her.
Yeah.
I'm the smallest boy in my family, and and she was tiny
Okay. Okay.
comparatively.
Uh-huh.
So she ran us right with an iron fist,
All
and
right.
there was no room for argument. There was what was said was done, and that was done. So yeah, she judged in her own way, just around the house though.
I like that, man. I like that. And I had to bring that up because as soon as I hear judge, I had judges on my show before, and every time I
Yeah,
hear judge and you say election judge, I was like, when you actually hear judge, you're like, man, and that's actually, being in a family and actually, the mom is a judge. I had to bring it out. I had to ask that question, but yeah, mom will judge right no matter how good the facts are. You're right
it's
about that,
yeah,
sir. You're
exactly.
definitely
And
right
I'll
about that.
let me round out that my dad was a
Uh-huh.
federal officer, and he
Okay.
was the highest law enforcement person where we grew up. Right?
Okay.
He was, I think, a special agent with Internal Revenue, was whatever.
Oh
Before there
wow.
was the DEA, before there was the ATF, before there were any of those things, there were
Wow.
the revenuers, right? And he
Yeah.
was one of those guys. Carried a gun, got shot at a lot, broke up stills. Was played bodyguard for Hubert Humphrey when he came to town, So he was the one who was also, was the judge. He was a cop at heart, and there was, when we messed up, we really knew we had disappointed him.
Yeah.
It really
Well,
hurt. So, yeah,
if I knew my father had that many guns, I wouldn't try to disappoint him because I don't I don't know where my life would be.
right, right. If it would be at all, right, exactly. Well, okay, we're
and
both here, so we obviously made some good choices along the way.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I think I love it, that your father, and your mom was kind of on two different sides of the intellectual, path, and when I say that, it's a good way because your father was this, I feel that your father, because he had the guns, because he was actually in, kind of in that industry of kind of like security, where you have to be strong, you have to be like, hey, I'm here to protect my family, but also I'm here to protect the world as well too. So he's got a lot on his shoulders, as far as what he's done, and of course, on the mom side. What did you learn about your dad over time when it comes to the
Mm.
security behind of growing up, like some of the things, of course, knowing that you knew about the guns, but of course, I'm sure that was only being used as far as protection. But what was the
Yeah.
things that you actually learned from your dad growing up?
Oh man, kind of everything.
Hmm.
My dad was I mean, I'm a dad's boy. He was kind of my hero,
Yeah.
and a little bit removed, a little bit reserved. He was 6'7".
Hmm.
Great singer. He and I used to sing together when we were kids. We sang at weddings and funerals and all those things.
Nice.
He took me to my first Handel's Messiah sing along at St.
Nice.
John's University, right, for Christmas time, and we did a lot of stuff together. He was troubled, and he had some difficulty with his work,
Yeah.
but he also, I mean, I tell you this, he taught me to love music, and it's
Nice.
probably the greatest joy that I have. My mom taught me to read. My mom only went to school through the eighth grade.
Oh
So
wow.
for her, reading was the only way forward. That was the way out. So we had the Reader's Digest condensed books. We read everything, right? Everything. And my dad, it was music. He played the guitar. He played 6 string, 12 string, punked around on the banjo, and he had a great voice. So there were those things that I learned about. That's what he was passionate about. His job it was just a job to him, right?
Yeah.
And there was danger in it. There were all those things of he knew he was doing right and he was helping people and he was fair and he was probably, I mean, he was a good cop if if in a day when there were really solid people and
Yeah.
we not people with all here. There were those people. There always have been people who've abused being in power. He
Yep.
was not one of them, right?
Yeah.
And I know there are plenty of people like him today. You just don't hear those stories much anymore, right?
Yeah.
But he was a good guy, and he taught me how to be a good guy.
Yeah. I think, you know, big. What's your parents' names?
So Frank and Kay, Frank and
Frank and
Kay.
Kay. I love that combination. Frank and
Yeah,
Kay. Big shout out to your parents, Frank and Kay, because, Frank, it actually, you can definitely, it's distilled in you in regards to being that good guy, being that good person, and being humble, right? In regards to, loving people, loving life. You can definitely tell. And of course, for your mom, as far as beautiful as she is when it comes to being able to help to make the right decisions, and also still being able to help where it's needed. So big shout out to them because they definitely helped you on your path of being that great son.
yeah,
We have to switch the gears now because
yeah.
being into that realm of from a political standpoint, but also understanding what love is all about. Now we talk about the homelessness here.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you actually were homeless as well too, or you experienced that. Tell us in regards to how did that transition happen from home into homeless?
So there's a lot, and it happened fast.
Okay.
Uh, I came out when I was 18 years old as gay, and
Okay.
it's in the 80s, right? And my mom did not take it well, and we didn't talk for 3 years. And I was out
Wow.
of the house, and I was cut off financially, and I was trying to make it in school, but I really couldn't. I had no contact with my family. My dad would write every once in a while and send $100 and that kind of stuff. But I was on my own in a really rough time in the States, right?
Yep.
It was the height of the AIDS crisis. It was just hitting Minnesota. All my friends died, and it was a brutal time. And frankly, uh, I started drinking, in high school, and drinking was a big problem for me in high school. But when I got out on my own, it just took off. So I nearly drank myself to death, and I was trying to kill the pain. Smoked a lot of crack, drank a lot of scotch, and whatever else I could get my hands on. And I ended up at 26 years old, after wearing out all of my friends, borrowing money from everybody, sleeping on everybody's couches, losing cars, I ended up sleeping on the floor of an empty house on a pile of bubble pack and packing blankets that I'd stolen off of a moving truck.
Hmm.
And the county where I lived gave me a chance. They said, "We'll give you your food stamps and your general assistance back if you go to this 28-day treatment program." And I said, "No." And I stayed sleeping on that pile of blankets on the floor for another year. And it was the spring of 1988 that I woke up. I was dirty. I hadn't showered in, I don't know how long. There were bugs all over me. It was terrible. I mean, it was just a horrible state to be in, right? So I went to this treatment, right? I didn't do anything for 28 days. Give my food stamps back. I can do anything. I went to this treatment and I got struck sober, which means I did not intend to go and get sober. I did not want to get sober. I had no interest in AA or any of that crazy. At that point, I was really mad at God, so I wanted nothing to do with any of that. And the desire to drink was taken away, and I have not had anything that's affected me from the neck up since. So it's 35 years, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
so that was soon to be the end of my homelessness. As I came out of that, I met a new group of people, and they let me stay on their couches, and they let me, they helped me out and took me to meetings and did all these things. Uh, I rebuilt my life starting at 27, really, and that was. I came out of that experience, and I'll tell you, I have this mentor who I worked with for many years. He was really my second father.
Sure.
I came out of that experience. I said, I would really like to help other people. And he said, well, you don't need to be a counselor. You don't need to become a psychologist or a therapist or anything like that. He said, you're going to meet plenty of people in your life who need your help.
Yeah.
So why don't you focus on those and live your life, live the life you're supposed to live. And I did, right? I went out and did all these things. And he really pushed me out the door. Wanted me to go out and experience life, and he taught me a lot about how to keep my head on, when things got busy, when my life got big, and so I had an amazing experience coming out of it, and I didn't look back. In fact, I was so ashamed of the fact that I've been homeless. I just didn't tell people. Right? He said, "Go on."
Not to cut you off because
no, it's all right. I'm a talker.
No, you good because you kind of got me in a zone of the transition from 18 into homeless, where you didn't speak to your mom for 3 years. Was it more because of when you came out and said that you were gay that made her say that she didn't want to talk to you anymore, or didn't want to see you? Or was it was it religious? What was the meaning for her not to be able to speak with you anymore for those 3 years?
It didn't fit in with, it was probably a lot, right? She was mad because she wasn't going to have grandchildren from me. She had all these excuses, this intolerance. It was the first time that I ever saw that side of her. She was always a little judgmental,
Sure.
But to be that intolerant really shocked me. It really gutted me because, it's my mom, regardless of how you feel about it intellectually, it's my mom. And I really struggled. My dad kept writing these letters I told you about. He'd write and say, I'm talking with your mom. Please don't give up on her.
Yeah.
My dad was the hero in those days. And he would write. And what changed her mind is my next door neighbor came home and he was really sick with AIDS. And my mom and his mom were really close. And she saw what was happening to him, and her, all of a sudden, the reality of what was going on out in the world hit her. And she reached out, and then all of a sudden she was my best friend. And she wanted everything right. She was all over. So, and that transition cost them somewhat because at that point, they left the church.
You know what?
Yeah.
Paul, I'm getting goosebumps right now. And the reason why I'm getting goosebumps because when someone leaves your life that you love so much, and then it's something on their end that actually hits them, and then there's something that makes puts something in their head to say, oh my God, that can be my son that's next, right? Or just thinking because of caring of a mother, right? That just comes out and says, oh my God, what did I do? Why would I abandon my son this way? Even though your mom always loved you. Moms always loves her kids. My mom tells me that all the time. No matter how mad I'm at you, I still love you. And I think because of that situation, there was something that, the man upstairs had to bring down to her and say, hey, your son may be in that boat, but maybe not be in that boat, but you need to go back to love your son the way you were before. And I think what you were saying earlier at the very beginning, between the differences between, your parents and your brothers and sisters, your brothers and your family, everything was all about love, no matter what. Right. Yeah. And I think because something triggered in regards to who and what path you took down, she just needed her time to come back at the right time, to come back to love you always, but to make sure she told you how much that she loved you. So I'm so glad to be able to hear that. That means that gave me goosebumps when I know she came back, and when something actually happened to basically give her something that says, hey, you need to go back to loving your son the way you should have. So big shout out to Kay.
Yeah, well, she as I said, it cost them, right? They left the church, and that was their community, just like it had been mine. So they gave up a lot in order to stand with what they then thought was right.
Yeah.
And I really respected that because, I'm going to misquote this, and I don't even remember where it came from, but somebody said that it's having values doesn't really matter until it starts to cost you something.
Mm,
And that was a perfect example of that. They stood with me and for me, and had to leave their community behind. And I think in some ways they never recovered that kind of community, the same kind of innocence they had
sure.
around that community. They had friendships that they forged, but the new friendships were new or were different,
Yeah.
right? They had something. There was another level of compassion and understanding that now entered their friendships, and they looked for different things in people. And yeah, I would like to say that it changed them for the better. They acted better toward me,
Yes.
and I appreciate that. That they, the love is a verb thing.
Yeah.
They loved me more actively. They took more participation in my life, but it was not without cost. And I know yeah, that's something that I've always paid attention to.
Well, we love you here on the Rico No Suave show. I tell you, we love you here on the Rico No Suave show, my man. That is, I want to say that this is like a clip of what we have to carve out, because to be
Yeah,
able to know how your mom came back to you, and also how your father was supporting you and fighting for you, for her to be able to come back, to be able to give that love and say, hey, all you have to do is just listen to him. All you have to do is just understand him. He's your son, no matter
yeah,
what. But just come on
yeah.
back, Kay, and love your son. Before we take a quick break in the next few minutes,
Sure.
in regards to everything that you've been through when it comes to being homeless, and being around as far as with drugs and alcohol, which is kind of the common things when you actually hear about someone that's being homeless, or there's a mental disability, right? That may be there as well too, and we're going to definitely talk a little bit more about that later in the show, because of course
Okay.
you have a lot of experience with working with the homeless as well. But during that time itself, I know you snapped out of it, and someone said, "Hey, you need to come and take this 28-day treatment," and you said no. What point at that time were you like on both of them? Were you actually drugs and alcohol at the same time when you actually was in
Yeah.
denial on that piece?
Anything that I could take,
Mm,
anything that available to me that would potentially reduce the pain
yeah.
and make me feel better, I took.
Mm,
So I was not a picky addict, right? I
mm,
from carrying, I was joking with somebody about this recently, but a bottle of box wine, the
yes.
box is inconveniently sized, but you rip open the box, it's a little plastic bladder of wine. I
Mm,
could fit that plastic bladder of wine into anything that I was carrying, and I had it. The kind of everywhere I went, I had a drink with me. It was that kind of like I was that kind of guy, right?
yeah.
I just anything that came my way, I took without question. I had all those crazy experiences that you can imagine, and
Sure.
probably some you can't even.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't picky when it came down to it, and it was the drinking and the alcoholism, right? The disease that it goes beyond just the name alcohol, right?
Sure.
That had just taken over my life. So again, having that moment of being struck sober, it was jarring because I didn't know what to do. And really I had to rebuild my life kind of from the ground up. Thankfully, it happened when I was young, right?
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys. My dad got sober at 74. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, right before he died, and
Wow.
and I got sober young, and it changed my life. It gave me the chance to have the life I've had. Right, that's great.
Paul, I am super happy that you are here on the show with me, my man. I am blessed to actually have you on the show, and we showing nothing but love on Valentine's Day. I can't think of any great story as far as for right now of talking to you on the show. Hey, we're gonna take a 30-second break real quick, Paul. I hope you're having a good time. But everybody, you already know the founder of SecondGrace.LA is here on the show with us on the Rico No Suave show. All right, everybody, we'll be back in 30 seconds. Let's go. Welcome back, everybody. Yes, it is me, your boy Rico No Suave with my man Paul Asplund. Man, I tell you, 30 seconds. I'm so glad that the 30 seconds went by so fast, my man, because I'm ready to get back into this interview. All right. So, are you having a good time so far?
I'm having a great time. This is, thank you for taking me down this road again. I
Yes,
don't
sir.
spend enough time. I've written about my parents. I've talked about this. I haven't ever had a chance to really talk about that transition that went, in their lives and how they came back into my life. And I think it's important. It's important. It's important that I honor that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They changed. They
Yeah.
changed, and I didn't think they would be able to, and they did. And
Yeah.
they changed and they grew, and it's a lovely thing to be able to honor.
Yes, sir. Man, I got to give, because there's people that's in the comments right now, but I do have to give some love. I got to give some shout outs to them because, they love the Rico No Suave show, and I love them too, and they love you as well. So let me give some shout outs to Beatrice Davis. Hello, Beatrice Davis. Thanks for checking in. We got John T for free checking in as well, too. What's up, John T for free? Then we have Donna Marie Bird. She says, Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day, love. And then, of course, Beatrice is giving out some love as well, too. Thank you so much. We do have some comments that I do want to read out. And hello, Patty Escobar is checking in. Beatrice Davis actually said, it's good to know there are people like Paul who makes a difference in other people's lives. You do not have to pay for love and caring. It comes for free. Thank you so much, Beatrice. I appreciate you on that. And then Patty Escobar, she says, thank you so much for being so open. I heard so many stories about people who came out in the 80s, and some of those great stories are heartbreaking. Thank God you were to mend your relationship with your mom. Very, very good
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
And yeah, please keep bringing them on and keep showing some love to my man Paul Asplund. You already know it's Valentine's Day, baby. That's what we do around here on the Rico No Suave show. All right, cool. All right, Paul, you ready? You ready to get it
Yes,
on?
sir.
Here we go,
Let's do
sir.
it.
Lava May. Ooh, wee. Let's talk about
Right.
Lava May. So Lava May is, something for that transition, because I want to understand where that transition came into from, someone actually getting you on your feet and then start saying, okay, you can help in so many ways. Where did Lava
Yeah.
May come into the transition piece?
So 2013,
Okay.
my husband at the time got a job in San Francisco, and
Okay.
we rented out our house in LA and we moved north. And I didn't exactly know what to do with myself, right? I did a little Uber driving. That's an adventure we can have another whole show about. I was sitting in bed one morning reading an article in the SF Gate, and there was this woman talking about she had refurbished a couple of old Muni buses and made them into mobile bathrooms. And she explained a little bit about the problem that for the 8,000 people who were living unhoused in San Francisco, there were 7 shower heads available to them, and that they were next door to the police station, so they had to walk down by the police station, which some of them just did not want to do. I wouldn't want to do it, so I totally understand. And she talked about coming up with this idea. And then she said the $1 million line. She said, "It's not about the shower. It's about the dignity."
Mm.
And all of these bells went off in my head because I had never heard anybody say that. Now, again, this is many, many years after I had experienced homelessness, right? So 25 years later. And I had had a whole life and career, and I was in Hollywood for a while. I've had just an amazing time, and so much fun, and learned so much, and experienced so much. And I reached out to her, and I said, "Look, I'm the guy you're talking about, right? That you gave a shower to this morning, 25 years later,
Wow.
and this is my story." And I told her, in a few lines, some of what I told you and your listeners so far. And she reached out. Well, like 10 minutes later, she sent an email back, and she said, "Can we meet tomorrow for coffee?" And I said, "Yes, of course." So we met, and while talking, she offered me. She said, this is new. We're just getting this off the ground. I've got an advisory board together. I would like you to be on the board." And I, like I said, I'd never been on a nonprofit board before. I'd worked with some because I've had a couple of nonprofits, but I'd never been on a board. And I said, "Yes, of course." And I learned a little bit later when I met all the other amazing board members, and that is a list of some of the top, most innovative, loving people in San Francisco. That board
Beautiful.
that she formed, right?
Yeah.
I was the one with lived experience. I was the one who had actually been through it and come through it. And I didn't give that any weight until that point in my life. I had not talked about it. People inside of my close circle knew that it was part of my experience, but it was not my present day experience, right? My whole life had just been a whole different life. Somebody who, when people hear that I've experienced homelessness, they have kind of a hard time equating. And I don't know why, because it happens so many people.
Sure.
So many
Yeah.
people have experienced homelessness. I don't know why it doesn't clue in with people. But I started working with them, and I started going out on the streets doing the showers in the mornings, and I fell in love with this work. And it was this thing of all my life. I've never really known what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried all these different things and had many different careers and jobs and fields that I've been interested in. And this was the one that rung true to me. This was the one that stole my heart. And getting up at 5:30 in the morning and going out in the cold and rain, and 5 days a week, we were out there giving showers to people with these buses. And eventually the buses broke down, and we got trailers, and we're hauling trailers all over. And I'm out there working with people on the streets and getting to know their names and hearing their stories and being able to share with them some hope, right? That this may be the worst day of your life, but I do not know what's in store for you, and I can't judge you because of that. I don't know what your future is going to be. So I can't look at you and say your life's over. I absolutely can't do that. Many people could have looked at my life and said it was over, right? I can't. I have to look at them and think of the unlimited potential. Mm-hmm. And I started to really take that as my operating, my place where I started with my relationships. Is I would look at the person and think, there's unlimited potential in your life. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. You don't know what it is, right? But if there's opportunity that comes your way, and you can take advantage of those opportunities, and you have the resilience to withstand a few failures, I have no idea what's possible for you. I have no idea, right? And it gave me the ability to endure a lot of trauma, and as a provider, a service provider, we talk about secondary trauma. When you're watching people who are experiencing trauma so often, it actually does take a toll on you. It's secondary trauma, and you need to work.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a huge mental health issue that we work with a lot on the streets. But Lava Mae gave me a chance to, and Lava Mae was revolutionary in its time. Nobody was doing what we did, which was to bring what was normally a brick and mortar service out onto the streets where the people were actually living. Now, that's
Mm.
not so uncommon anymore because Lava Mae spun out well over 100 different shower programs around the world. And, that's how I initially met B. And I worked in Hamburg, and I've worked with, with Gobano there. I've worked with a bunch of different organizations in California. This movement took off and people understood. And when I would go and talk to a group of people, and we had this phrase radical hospitality, and I would say this is radical hospitality. We
Wow.
are bringing an unexpected level of service to the streets, and
Yeah.
people would just light up. And not only and not just the people I was talking to and asking money from, but the
Yeah.
people on the streets. When you gave them that unexpected level of service, the warm towel, the smile, you remembered their name. The
Yeah.
shower was cleaned between every shower, and it was decorated, and there was music, and there was artwork on the walls. And
Wow.
we made this as close to being at home as you could imagine. They blossomed, and so that was the beginning. I was at Lava Mae for years. Lava Mae sadly is gone.
Okay.
Went bankrupt last
Wow.
summer. Yeah, and that says a lot about the world that we work in.
Sure.
But Lava Mae inspired a lot of people, and I'm one of them. I'm a product of that. Denise Sandoval was the founder, and that whole group at the beginning, Leah Fuller and Vanessa Wellman, all these people got together and created this magical thing, and this thing still is resonating. And I love that. Drop the pebble in the pond and watch it go out. Right? It's
Yeah.
still resonating like that. It's so yeah. So
I
that was
love
Lava Mae.
that. Man,
Yeah.
bro, I love that. I have to say, there's so many things to unfold from the transition of you being for you to be asked to be on a board where you're like, I just did a few non-for-profit organizations. Somebody saw the light in you. They saw you as someone that experienced, what people that you're going to see out there in the streets. Because I'm sure as far as with drugs and I've actually had friends and family members that actually was on drugs as well too, when until they found themselves and had that bright light to be able to become sober and to be able to come not addicted anymore. But in what whoever asked you to be on that board, we thank them because they saw that light in you. They saw something about what you've been through in order for you to be able to go out there and experience even more. Because
Yeah.
during that time, you were learning even more about, you talking about that secondhand trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Man, depression is kind of like the number one killer, because when someone is depressed, it falls on you as far as you being depressed as well too. And you feel like, man, why am I living? It feels like that way sometimes as well too. But for you to be able to be strong like that, I think you stay strong because you understood it, right? But also you were learning and also how to become almost like that. Would you call yourself a psychologist now? Because
Nowhere near. Nowhere near. I am a fair to middling judge of human character. Most of the time, I just get by on charm, right? I just, I basically, I believe people are good, right?
yes, sure,
I believe people are good and they want to do good.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I could go and there's a lot of numbers and lots of research around this. There are a group of people who were like, well, let's say I can just use my mom as an example, but right, who have that rigidity of don't
Yeah.
confuse me with facts, my mind is made up,
Yeah.
right? Touching them takes a personal experience.
Exactly.
They need to know somebody that
Yes.
touches them. There are other people who are naturally compassionate to a level where they are always walking by and looking for ways to help. Right? They just comes in their nature. A lot of them end up in religious work or social work. Like the people who do social work, they're amazing human beings. The heart that those people who go through and they get their master's degrees in social work and try and go out and change the world.
Yeah.
The heart of those people is beautiful. They
Sure.
are beautiful people.
sir.
Every one of them that I get a chance to work with, I love working with, right? They're
Yes,
just
sir.
good.
Yeah.
So, right. Yeah. Judge
Yeah.
a character.
Yeah.
I
I love it, man. I love it, dude. We could talk, this is not the only segment. This is not going to be the only interview that me and you have because
I
it's already in Chicago 7:45 and we got to take another break. And I hate taking
okay.
breaks right now because we're so much deep in the conversation, but I want you to sit back on this one, man, because you know I got to talk about NASCAR. That's what I got to do. Everybody, my man Paul Asplund. Let's talk
All
about
right.
NASCAR, everybody. Hey, everybody. You know what? NASCAR moments. You already know everybody because NASCAR moments is all about room, and personalities. And also, you know, because the Rico no Suave show is actually affiliated with NASCAR, you know, we're so happy to actually be out there showing you guys exactly what we love to do when it comes to race cars. But you know what? This one is for the fans itself because it's Fantasy Live NASCAR, baby. You know, I didn't know. You know, NFL has it, the MLB has it, NHL has it, you know, baseball, hockey. All of these guys have their fantasy leagues. I didn't know that there was a fantasy league for NASCAR. I didn't know. I just didn't know. But you can actually, please, you can actually go to Fantasy Live on NASCAR.com. Make sure you go and pick out your favorite drivers. As you can see, you can select your drivers. You can swap garage drivers. Man, you know what? If that was real time, you guys would probably be the bomb. You can even feature all of your matchups, everybody. When you feature your matchups, and just hopefully that you're actually winning out there. Man, it almost feels like you're going to do something with DraftKings. Yeah, this is the feature matchups for the NASCAR, everybody. So make sure you guys go and check out for all of the fans that's out there. Please go ahead and do yourself a favor and get in with Fantasy Live, NASCAR.com. And that is the NASCAR moments, everybody. Yeah, baby. All right, let's get back to my man. Let's get back to my man because I know I know he's ready. Paul, you ready?
I'm ready.
Man, we
Ready.
always, you know what? I'm sad, man, because it's Valentine's Day and, you know, we just got a lot of love going on around here and the time is flying by so fast, Paul.
Yeah,
So fast,
that's
man.
what happens. Yep.
Yeah, it's sad. I do want to share the little heart tear going down right now, but I can't do it. I can't do it. All right, here we go. Second Grace. .la. Before I do that, before I do that, I do have to give a big shout out to Lava May and all of the great work. And you did also talk about the social workers as well, too, to be able to have that heart to make the world better in regards to that. But I do want to give some love to Lava May and everything they actually done to actually have that trickle effect, to be able to try and make the world better and to be able to have the whole shower thing. That is super cool. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Man, just to make people feel like they're VIP, like they feel like they're someone. They feel like they can actually go on with normal lives. I do have one question for you before we get to Second Grace. During that time, as far as when you were actually helping as far as with Lava May, did anyone that was actually homeless turn their lives around?
You know, yes. And more people than I actually am aware of. I know because we only touched people a couple times a week, and then they would disappear, and we would hear, "Oh, so and so got housed," and then we would never see them again.
Okay.
Sometimes people would come back after they'd been housed and they would volunteer, and that was one of the most beautiful responses that we saw. It's like somebody's like, "I am now housed, but I know what it was like to be out here on those mornings, and I want to give back too." And we saw this so often that we created an entire tier of volunteers. We called them super volunteers. They were formerly guests who came back to volunteer with us, and this was a regular thing for them. Right. So we did see successes, and it fills my heart, you know, that I saw people's lives coming back and getting the things that they needed. And it's happening around me all the time. I've seen hundreds of people recover from being homeless.
Beautiful.
Just a matter of time in many cases and the right solution. It's not the same solution for everyone. Sure. It's got to be the solution for them. So, yeah.
All right, my man. Let's transition into secondgrace.la, baby. Yeah. Talk to me about where did the name come from and tell us about the organization.
Okay, Second Grace is from, there's a song called Fly by Nick Drake. And if this song wasn't about homelessness and hopelessness, I don't know what it's about, but I probably misquoted, but it's please give me a second grace. Please give me a second face. I've fallen far down and here I'm now in your way, right? Uh, and that song was just, it's such a beautiful idea. Please, give me a chance. And, I don't know anybody anywhere in the world. I haven't lived everywhere, but I've been around a little bit. I don't know anybody who's as willing to give second chances as Americans are, right? We are the second chance champions.
Yes.
And the fact that we are so harsh with people who are coming back from homelessness and addiction, is a little bit problematic. We're a little judgy when it comes to that. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but failing at capitalism is unforgivable in our capitalist society. Yeah. So we're hard on the people who that happens to. But when I was out working with people, we kept having the same problems over and over. Let's face facts, first of all. We are not winning the war, for lack of a better term, the battle, I hate to use military terminology. We're not winning God, help me with the word here. We're not winning the battle against homelessness. We are losing worse every day.
Would you say poverty?
Well, poverty too. But poverty is part. I mean, if I can beg your patience for a few quick numbers to give you reference, just about LA County, where I am, right?
Sure.
First, 600,000 people in LA County spend more than 90% of their take-home pay in rent. Okay, so right now, tonight, there are probably 30,000 people who are currently going through the eviction courts. There are 230 people losing their housing every day. And that is around 80,000 people a year, right? Wow. Losing their housing every day. Now, the majority of them, 80%, will get housed again within 6 months because it's economics. It's that, you lose your job, your grandma dies, something happens economically and you end up on the street. All you need to do is get a job and get money and you can find housing, right? Find market rate housing, though you may end up spending 90% of your take-home pay in rent. There are 20% of those people who become chronically homeless. And those, then you talked earlier about mental health issues. Sure. Lots of mental health issues, right? Yeah. I came in with a lot of mental health issues. Not only was I an alcoholic, I was also extremely depressed because all my friends had died. And I thought I was going to die. I didn't even talk about this, but I was expected to die at any moment. The fact that I didn't seroconvert was a mystery to everybody. But I was just expected to die. I had no plans beyond 6 months in the future. It was just absurd to plan that far ahead. So we're losing. We're losing. We're throwing billions of dollars at the problem, and it's not working. And I have a theory, and the theory is because the system's not built for what needs to happen. And what needs to happen is there needs to be an application of people. There needs to be more people out there working individually, one-on-one if we can, with people who are experiencing homelessness, and not the big agencies. The big agencies can build housing, they can manage the programs, they can do all those things that they do, right? Yeah. But what we're in the business of doing, those of us who are working directly on the streets with people, is rebuilding human beings. And that is a very difficult job to quantify. Yes, it's difficult to fund, right? Yes, hence, Suave may go bankrupt and lots of other people struggling. Some of the best work in this world is happening on the streets by organizations who you never even heard of, who are mom and pop, taking their retirement money. They're volunteering. They're doing whatever they are doing individually, because when you show up every week and you tell someone you love them and that you want them back, and that there's a place for them in this society, eventually it will work. It takes time, and we're not giving it enough time. I was 2 years before I could really hold a job. And my first job was as a night security guard, right? And my
Mm-hmm.
qualification is 6'2" and 275 night security guard. That's the best. So we're not giving it enough time. We're asking for results so quickly, and we're burning out the people who are doing the work because we're not paying them enough. Those people who have the degrees in social work, they're not getting paid enough. They're
Yeah.
not, and they have too many people. 230 people every day show up at the doors of an agency or agencies around LA County.
Yeah.
230 people a day. By the time you get their paperwork done, another 230 people have shown up,
Shoot. Wow.
right? It's just that every day. Imagine that in tents on a city block, right? If you can put 20 people living on a city block in tents, you've got 11 blocks of encampment every day in LA. Now, again, they don't stay forever,
Sure.
but they're coming so fast.
Wow.
And before COVID, it was 130 people a day. Now it's 230 people a day.
Wow.
So these are really tough numbers. They're really tough, and there are a lot of reasons why it's not working. Money doesn't fix it. Programs that look for big solutions don't generally work for the hardest work, which is rebuilding the human being, rebuilding the soul, right? Telling somebody that they are loved. And this is so second grace. I'll talk about this all day if you want to. But,
Yeah, we got a few more minutes.
right, got a few more minutes. I get to second grace. Working out in the streets, we're also siloed, right? I would work from 5:30 until 3:30 doing the services, and then go and try and answer my emails and do those things, right?
Sure.
I didn't have time to build relationships with other service providers. I didn't know who was a block away doing similar work who I could be partnering with in order to do a better job. Like if I got somebody to come and give haircuts while I'm giving a shower, that would be amazing. What about new clothes? What if then they got a haircut, shower, new clothes, and then they could go see the doctor at the same time? What if we could coordinate that? Very difficult to do. And not just because of how busy everybody on the ground level is, but also funding is a problem. Funding silos prevent us from working with each other. Some can only work with veterans. Some can only work with youth. Some can only work with women who are being trafficked. So they're all valid, wonderful reasons to be, doing the work and funding that kind of work. But it does stop us from working with each other. And then there's technology. We're all using WhatsApp and Slack and Discord and messages, and we're not able to talk to each other. In the course of one day, I'll have email conversations and then use 5 or 6 different applications to talk to the people that I'm coordinating with. And if you do that, if an organization is siloed by communications, they can't naturally talk to others.
Right.
So I stepped back and I said, okay, there's got to be a solution to this. And that solution actually comes twofold. One, I can create a sense of community, because I haven't talked enough about this, but community is what I attribute everything. Every success in my life has been because of community, because I've been surrounded by people who love me and support me, even when I fail, even when I'm at my worst.
Yeah.
They still love me and support me. I didn't have that growing up, the judgy parents. But I did have that later in life and through most of my life, that community, always there, always there. So we're creating a community online with a free chat tool. Anybody can use it. You sign up, you just can talk to anybody else on the same platform. And then you can post all of your events. You can have all the resources. I built a map of resources around LA County. You can access that map there when there are requests for proposals that go out. I'm trying to make all of the information around the solution to homelessness available in one place, and then bring the people there.
Yeah.
So they're all talking to each other and saying, hey, we tried this and it worked really well. And somebody could immediately affect that kind of thing, right? Immediately make that change. So it's
I wish I could keep going. My man. Oh my goodness. I think the next time I come out, I'm gonna come out to interview you in person. Because we're gonna have to have a segment after segment after segment because this is a sequel. This is a docu-series. This is something where I tell people that what you're doing for the community is just not a 1 week thing or a 2 week thing or just a year thing. It's year after year after year to be able to make things happen. But man, Paul, I am blessed to actually have you here on the show. And I'm also blessed to give you this. So this right here.
Now you have to come visit, right? So you can deliver that shirt to me.
You
That's
know
a
I
beautiful
will,
shirt.
sir. You know I will. Yes.
I
This
love it.
shirt, man, let me tell you about this shirt real quick. This shirt, it's a symbolism of your heart, of what you've been through in regards to coming out as far as you actually being that kid in family, understanding what love is all about. And then, of course, not everybody wants to experience what a homeless person or someone that's been addicted or, with drugs and alcohol. But for you to be able to go through that and be able to come out of, the woodworks, to be able to see the light, for somebody to be able to say, hey, you know what? We want you to put you on the board. And all of a sudden, because of things that you have done during that time, to be able to see that they know that you have a bright light. And then you have second grace. You're giving people second graces of chances of, hey, we love you. We are here, but there's a certain way we're going to go about loving you. And we're going to show you how to be able to do this. And also big shout out to Lama May in regards to showering people with goodness, right? And keeping that going. So, but this right here is just, it's like an introduction, orientation to the Rico No Suave show. So, Paul, welcome to the team, baby. Yeah. Welcome to the team, my man. Yo, we got to get out of here, but I got to put up your social media because your social media is very important for everybody to see and also to be able to contribute to your goodness. So let's put up that first one. All right, secondgrace.la. Check them out on Facebook, everybody. Please make sure you go ahead and check him out on Facebook. Go ahead and like and love everything he's actually doing. Let's go to that next one. The next one is, boom, yes, secondgrace.la, baby. Follow him on Instagram. It's just that easy. Instagram, just go ahead and follow. Say it you saw for Rico No Suave show. Last but not least, you already know, it's the website, www.paulasplund.com. So make sure you go ahead and check him out there. It has a lot of great stuff, and I want you guys to make sure you contribute. Paul, I'll see you later, my man. We're definitely going to be talking again.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I will talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Everybody put your hands together for my man, Paul Asplund. Yes, sir. All right, everybody. We got to get out of here. We hope that you guys had a great time here on the Rico No Suave show. And please make sure you continue to show your love because it's Valentine's Day. But, hey, on the Rico No Suave show, every time we're here is Valentine's Day. We got to put up our social media, everybody, because you know what? Our website, we got to put up our website, and our website is www.riconosuaveshow.com. Make sure you go ahead and show that love there. Here's the next one. Oh, yeah. We got Instagram too. Yeah, we got Instagram too at Rico No Suave Show. Please go ahead and show us some love at Rico No Suave Show. Go ahead and follow us there. Here's the next one. Oh, yeah. We left Facebook, then we came back because they said they missed us. Rico No Suave Show. Make sure you go to Rico No Suave Show. Let's get it on to the next one. Oh, yeah. If you haven't subscribed yet, yeah, we're on YouTube. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to our channel, Rico No Suave Show. Go ahead and do that now. Last but not least, we have nothing but, it turns into a podcast. Audio, mixcloud.com/Rico No Suave Show. All right, everybody, we got to get out of here, but happy Valentine's Day. Feliz San Valentin a todos, mi gente. And we got to get out of here as we end off the show just like